Y'all doing tonight? What is going on in your world? I hope a lot of doula things. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to answer some questions about creating your service. That's the biggest thing that we're going to be talking about. Is well, first of all, let me say I'm Deanna Flores Cochran. I'm an End-of-Life Doula mentor and trainer. I've been a hospice nurse for 15 years, from 2000 to 2015, board certified. And I've been training end-of-life doulas since 2010. I decided I wanted to work outside the healthcare system myself in 2005. And long story short, when people found me, as I was talking about pre-hospice accompaniment of, and also end-of-life accompaniment of families in the dying, people wanted to know how I was doing what I was doing. So long story short, that's how the school came to be and the end-of-life doula training and certification that I do. For right now, welcome to Doula Office Hours, Open Office Hours. I'm going to be doing these for a few more weeks. And I've been asking people what they want to learn about, what they want to talk about. And so I'm looking at here. So I got a couple places that I'm looking at. So this is the space to ask anything about end of life, doula work, training, readiness, scope, boundaries, certification, how this could fit in your life too. Okay. If you're unsure of what to ask, I'll start with one of the most common questions that I hear. I've got some notes here that I'm looking at. Is how do I take all the ways that I could help and turn them into one clear service? So this is what is one of the biggest issues that people have in doing this work, is how do I wrap up everything that I do, everything that I am, all the things that I have on my mind, and put it together in a service? How do I do that? A lot of people exploring this work start listing everything they care about, right? That's what you'll start doing, is everything that you care about. Helping families talk about wishes, being present when decline accelerates, supporting someone through the long stretch before hospice, that pre-hospice time. I want y'all to realize that's when most of the dying is happening with someone. It's not when they get on hospice. It's happening mostly before. And only half of the people who are dying per Medicare records come onto hospice. So most people are dying before they ever get to hospice. And most people come onto hospice way too late and are there only for a couple of weeks before they do die. Other things we're thinking, well, I'll teach families what signs to look for and what to watch for during vigil, helping with legacy projects, supporting caregivers who are overwhelmed. So the list is long, and there's so many other things that can be on that list as well. So the other question that comes up then is, well, what do I focus on first? What do I focus on first? So that's what we're going to be talking about this evening. And let me see if there's anybody who is asking anything. I don't know if I can see you. If anybody has any questions over here on YouTube or in TikTok, I'm over here as well. Any questions, just ask me, okay? Otherwise, I'll be sharing with you the most common things that I hear and some things to consider along the way. So one of the questions that I get a lot, why do so many future doulas get stuck when it comes to shaping their service? Why, when they're so good at it? See, most of you already know that you're good at this, that you're good at accompanying. That's something that you've come to know. So why do you get stuck? Why do you get stuck here when you're trying to plan it out? And I'll tell you that because we mistake importance for priority. So many things matter at the end of life, but that doesn't mean all of them belong in your first service, okay? When everything feels meaningful, people often create something too broad and to explain even, too big to sustain, and too vague, actually too vague. That's why you can't explain it. People have a hard time explaining what they're doing because it's too broad. Any comments about that? Let's see over here. Okay. Next issue. What do families actually need most before hospice begins? How about that? Because that's when most of the dying is actually happening. When treatments begin to stop working, often the physician that's been dealing with the person, since there's no more treatments that can help them heal from this illness, often there's just like no direction at all. And who begins to actually guide the whole thing is when the person goes in and out of the hospital. ER departments aren't there to help to guide people's treatment plans. But it's interesting how many people don't really have a plan after the treatments that they were using for cure no longer work. And they go in and out of the hospital with the next exacerbation. And that cycle so many of you know what I'm talking about. That cycle continues of in and out of the hospital. So what are they doing? Well, the last ER doctor said to do. Then they're supposed to follow up with their primary physician or whatever specialist they introduce them to at the hospital. And some people do and some people don't. Families need steadiness right here. They need orientation to what's going on. They need help understanding what stage they're in. Not everybody even understands what stage they're in. They need someone who can help them slow things down, so they're not constantly knee-jerking and reacting to every little thing that comes up. They're scared. They need help naming what is changing, reducing confusion, and help them think clearly. But when they're doing everything, they're the daughter, or they're the mother, or they're the wife or the husband, and they're trying to figure all this out, and they're trying to make sense of everything, and they're trying to get all the things done, and they're trying to research. It's too much. And our system continues to fragment. As we all know, it's too much. So this is why the time before hospice matters so much. Families are often carrying uncertainty with very little guidance. Does anybody have anything they want to share or ask? I don't see anything there. Okay. So next thing, what makes a service feel clear and sustainable instead of scattered? So a clear service, if you have a lot of things that you could possibly offer, most people tend to want to offer, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do just this long list of things. But a clear service is built around one kind of help, for one kind of moment, in one kind of way. Think of a megaphone. Your cheerleader is hollering with the megaphone, and it's very focused and narrow. People can hear very clearly what they're saying. If you do this diffuse approach where I do this and I do this and I do this, nobody really understands. They lose interest. They lose, they're not paying attention anymore after a couple of, but I do this and this and this. So it's not, your first service shouldn't be built on every good idea that you have. Keep them in a notebook, put them over there, but let's focus on one thing for your first service. You focus first, then explain and expand later if you need to. You might not need to or want to. Remember, whatever service you start with, you're gonna, it's like a bare bones skeletal framework when you're starting. And you're gonna add meat to it. It's gonna continue to deepen and deepen and deepen. Okay? Let's see if there's a new message. Okay, I don't see anybody there. Okay. Anybody, any comments? All right. Okay, no barking right now. Why do people create too many packages or too many offers? Here's another big question that that people ask me. And it's usually because you're trying to honor every possible need before you've chosen your actual role and how you're going to do that. So too many packages often means you haven't decided yet what you're going to do, what you want to be known for first, what you actually would love to do all day. The problem isn't lack of compassion, it's lack of structure. That's the biggest problem that end-of-life doulas have. So if you're just coming into this, we're talking about the issues that people who want to have an end-of-life doula service run into as they're trying to create their service. These are the biggest problems. So one of the biggest mistakes in all this is trying to design your whole career before you've clarified your first offer. You don't need to build everything now, okay? You need to understand, though, what kind of support you're naturally suited to offer. End-of-life doulas, really the only thing that we have in common is our end of life, our desire to serve at the end of life, and the end of life expertise that we have, and the comfort that we have with accompanying people during this time. That's probably the only thing we have in common. What every doula does after that is very individual, and it should be. It should be because it's a non-medical role. Your service, no barking. Your service should be based on what you want to do, what you're good at, what your skill set is. It's a non-medical role. Come here, sweetheart. Come here, honey. No fussy. It's a non-medical role. So what is it that you want to do? Okay. There's so much need at the end of life, so much need from every direction, in every way, that all the people that are being drawn to this, if everyone did what they're good at and what they want to do, they can just refer other things that come up that they can't do and they don't know to people who do know. So that's how I recommend doing this, is based on your set of experience, interests, skills, expertise. Okay. You need to be drawn to the stage that they're in. So you could start from when treatments begin to stop working. Okay, that's a time, that's a space and time. Then there's a new normal time where you're getting used to that. Well, we're not going to get better. What does this look like? I have new kinds of issues going on. So this is like a new normal time of living. That's like a second stage from there. Treatment stopped working. We're in the new normal. Then we get into where we're going into some decline and realizing we're getting close to hospice, but not quite there. So pre-hospice time, and then hospice time. So that's like 4 stages from when treatments begin to stop working that you could be working in. And then bereavement also. Some people are drawn to bereavement and grief. So what are you drawn to? That's important to how you're going to structure your service. You're not going to be everything to everyone. Pick a lane. At each one of those times, families need different things. So that's going to be part of how you structure your services. What do I want to do? What stage of life am I in? And what do families need during that time? That's going to all inform how you structure your service and what you can realistically sustain. That's one of the biggest pieces of this, is what is your lifestyle? What is it that your family needs? What do you need for your financial security? What do you need for the kids, for the dog, for the husband, the wife? What do you need for your home? What do you need to sustain your personal life, your spiritual life? Every single one of us is going to have a different structure. There's no way you can put a template on this. That's why I work with people so closely to custom build their process. You can't just slap a template and call that a service. It's not going to work. It won't work. You won't be able to sustain it. Let's see. Is there any comments or concerns? please feel free to type them in so I can be helpful to you. So as you can see, that's really different than trying to do everything at once. Really giving it some thought. Okay, what can you sustain? What would be good for you? For your life. See, it's my belief that end-of-life doulas need to be nourished as they work. You need to, it can't be something that depletes you. That's why you have to structure it in a way that supports you and supports your life. Okay. So the question isn't, what could I do? The real question is, what would I love to do every day? And build your service around that. So what's coming up for you as you've heard me say these things? If you've been circling questions about what your service could look like, what families really need, you know, what they need before hospice begins, now's a good time to ask. Is there anything going on? Okay, yeah, all right. You've got a, I don't know what that, okay. All right, well, be thinking about what part of end-of-life doula work that you feel drawn to right now. And stick with that. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, okay? And then think about, are you someone who tends to get too broad when you think about service ideas? Then when you're doing this and putting this together, think about one thing, two at the max, two at the most. And then check in and do some journaling around, does the idea of narrowing down your service, does it feel relieving or does it feel frustrating? That'll help. That'll help you go through with this. That'll help you build it. Like really get clear about what it is that you would love to do, what things bring resistance in you. You don't have to do the things that bring resistance. You don't. Okay, here, good. Okay, I'm going to read this. I have found a lot of people want more of the physical comfort for their loved one and not focusing on the emotional or spiritual aspects. What are your thoughts on that? That's really good. Yeah, we find in hospice, when I was hospice nursing for 15 years, it's amazing how many people refuse chaplain services and social work. It's amazing. They wanted like only the nurse to come, like just bare bones practical. And so what that did and does is it burdens the nurse, because the nurse is there in hospice, it's a team. And the nurse is there for physical symptoms and practical things and getting all this, the medicine and we're the hub of the wheel, making sure everything's flowing. And they really do want spiritual and emotional support, but they don't want it from a spiritual role or emotional role. That's well documented and well known. So you're right about that. I say for end-of-life doulas, I've always said, base your service on a practical, something practical, because you're bringing that part of you, that emotional, spiritual part that they do want. You're bringing that with you every time you show up. That's you. That's who you are. Now, if you're a psychotherapist, a chaplain, a social worker, a LPC, someone trained in all of that realm, then you have an expertise and a specialized training in that. I have lots of psychotherapists and LPCs in my program who do not want to do therapy in their doula work. They want to be companioning. A lot of people, nurses too. A lot of the medical folks are very happy with this role because they can let go of the license part of what they've been doing and be that companion and practical support. So I'll just give an example of just really how simple this could be. Say you love gardening. This is a favorite one of mine. You love gardening. But I'm not a professional gardener. No, you don't need to be. Think of your service as, hi, I'm Deanna Cochran. I garden for people who are in advanced illness. Is that clear? I garden for people in advanced illness. I help people who are in advanced illness with their gardens. What happens when you go and garden? People bring up a chair, don't they? They'll sit outside with you while you're gardening. What's going to happen? They're going to talk. They're going to share. You're going to be you. You can see it, can't you? That's a service right there. That's a practical service that you're bringing emotional, spiritual you. You're companioning them. And one thing will lead to another. And if you know what you're doing, and you know end of life, and you know how to read situations and all of that, then you are actually going to be able to help guide them along the way. That's just one example, but I think you'll see. Yes, and trying to figure out how to get people to talk about, no, you don't, that's what I'm saying is you don't have to try to figure it out. Is once you're doing, like, think about it like this. Some people just getting in the car, like say people are awkward and they're not really talking much in the house. Take them in the car and go to the store and watch people talk. Go for a walk. What happens? You're walking side by side. You start talking. There's something about movement and not focused eye contact on them and they're feeling showcased that is brilliant around this. And people start talking. Yeah. Great. These are great points. I'm so glad you brought these up. Yeah. Anything else you want to? Let's see. I don't see anything else there. Let me see if there's anything else here. But yeah. I wanted to give you some things to think about and let you know that you're not alone. If you've been, creating your service and have 12 things on there, and then, oh my goodness, sometimes when I'm working with people, they come to me and they have like 5 packages, 10 packages. And it's like, okay, let's break this down and simplify. And those packages are really for you because it's not something you're going to want to give them all this material to read. Now, this package comes with da 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 da, and this package comes with da 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 da. That's too much. It's too overwhelming. Those packages are for you. For when you're talking to your person, the people that you're might be serving, you're finding out what do they need. And then you're discerning if you can help them. And you already have your packages in front of you. Say I'm on the phone with somebody. I got my couple of packages, the way I could work with them already figured out. So when they're talking to me, I can discern, yes, I can help you. And this is what we'll do. And this is how it works. And then you go, or they say yes or no. Or they're telling you what they need and you don't do what they need. Let me help you find somebody. That's the next appropriate thing to do. Yeah, because you're not going to be able to help everybody. Most often, if they're very general requests, you will be able to. But that's something for you to figure out along the way. You don't have to answer every single one of those questions before you get out the door. That's why I want you to have a very specific structure. Know your own packages and have them in front of you. They tell you what they need. Yes, I can help you. No, I can't, but yes, I can. And this is how it would look. Is that something you want to do? So, anything else? Does anybody have any other things they want to share? Okay. All right. Well, if you're still in maybe mode, if you are there and that kind of, and wondering if this is for you or not, you can sort through all those thoughts and what a practice might look like. I have a Pro Doula classroom. It's a structured place to do exactly that. And if you already know you want professional standards and deeper training, then I have a certification orientation too. So you can just go to find both of those on my caredoulaeducation.com website. My official website is caredoulaeducation.com. and you'll see both of those. So you don't have to figure all this out tonight. But clarity will come, of course, faster when you stop circling this on your own and trying to just do everything in your own head when you don't know more than what you're seeing on the internet or chat, GPT, right? Or live webinar or free webinars. If you want to figure things out, you do need to get out of that hamster wheel. Okay. So thank you for being here. Oh, look, let's see. This is great info. I'm a medical student and certified End-of-Life Doula. Wonderful. That's good. Congratulations. Yeah, just when you open up to this end-of-life world, when you know that you're interested, and especially you wanting to be a physician and going into medical school. I used to love it when we would have the medical students come on our rotations as when I was a hospice nurse. I love it that you are drawn to end of life. You'll be one of the very few physicians who are, one of the very few physicians who can actually make a difference. We need physicians to be into this. I'm not saying just end-of-life doula, but we need physicians to really get into pre-hospice palliative care. Please do your research on that. In fact, you can go to the Center to Advance Palliative.org. I'm talking to the medical student. CAPC.org is for medical professionals, and getpalliativecare.org is for lay people. So anybody here listening, getpalliativecare.org is a huge website full of palliative care information geared towards prior to hospice. You don't have to be dying to have palliative care. And so that will explain everything on a layperson level. And then the capc.org is on in the medical level. Okay. All right, y'all. Take good care. Thanks for coming by. And I will see y'all next time. Yeah. Awesome. Oh, great. That is awesome. The AAHPM, American Academy of Hospice and Palliative Medicine. Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic. I love them. Oh, I just talked to a physician this week from there. Yeah. Thank y'all. Take care. Bye-bye. And it's going to take me a minute to how I'm going to end this. I don't know how to do it. There you go. All right. There's that.